It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. I am so out of sorts here. Please tell me that you guys hear me okay, that you see me. I am sitting on the 33rd floor in Chicago in a makeshift studio, my hotel room. Welcome to Chicago. That is Lake Michigan. So I've been told. You know me and my geography. I'm on mute. Can you guys hear me? Someone said mute. Okay, I'm good. You hear me? Chicago. Welcome. This is our geography lesson. Guys, this is Chicago. And that's all you're going to know for today. That's all we're going to tell you because I don't know anything else. Well, I do know that this is the south side of Chicago. So I was asked, do you want a lake view or the city view? I know that the city downtown is that way. And I got the lake. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a view. Look at that. Isn't that insane? How cool is that? Lake Michigan is gorgeous. There's no sun. It's March. It's cold. I just by mistake went outside. The reason I'm a couple minutes late is because I did get lost. You know, this is very typical for Donna. Yes, and now I talk about myself in third person. So I went and I ordered lunch. So it's 1:17 p.m. here in Chicago. And you know, I go live at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So it's still 11 a.m. Pacific time. Now I figured out Chicago's 2 hours late. I ordered lunch so that I didn't have to leave that. This is like prime lunchtime. I'm hungry. So I just did DoorDash. So I got something like a salad and a sandwich from a place I had like a really good review. And then they had like a double DoorDash situation from Levain Bakery. And I was like, I can't turn down those cookies. So I ordered the cookies. And then it got here right as I was going live. So I was like, shit, I got to go run down to the lobby. Now, there's a podcast conference here. But this is also connected to the convention center. It's called the McCormick Place, which is this big building right here. If you're not watching on YouTube, it's very visual. This episode is very visual. So there's also a doctor conference. Okay. So any single ladies or men, okay, we don't discriminate here, who are looking for a good doctor, get your ass over here. They're everywhere. I don't know if they're married or not. I haven't checked. But this place is swarming with doctors. Okay. You can find a lot of smart people here. And there's either smart people or podcasters. I don't know if they connect in any way. So it's either smart people or just really talkative people. I think the podcasters joined today. Yesterday was all smart people, but today in the lobby, it's a lot of so I think it's all the podcasters today. So downstairs right now in the lobby was all the people are all there. It's doctors and podcasters. It's so packed, but I went to the wrong floor and I was like, shit, I was running to get to you guys. So I went down the stairs from floor 2 to floor 1, and I ended up outside. This is such a doser move. All of a sudden, I'm outside. Lake Michigan, right? Wind in my it's cold. It's the Windy City. They don't joke about that. It's real, okay? This is why I just did my hair. 2 seconds in Chicago, it's ruined. So I got blasted with the cold, and it's cold, you guys. It's like 40 degrees. 40 degrees, LA girl. I mean, I already got like, ice I felt. Not really, but I was cold. So then, but I felt safe because I was surrounded by cardiologists. So I said, if God forbid something happens to me, I'm around the doctors. I walked around, got my food, ran upstairs, put my food down, straight to you guys. And here I am. Here I am. All right. So that is how we're going to start off our Monday. Now, I was going to do better lighting so that I could look at the window, because those of you that know lighting, you're supposed to be lit by the outside, but I wanted you guys to have the view. So let's see how today goes, and maybe tomorrow I'll switch it around. Yes, everyone says don't walk south from there. And my Uber told me too. He's like, don't go south, only go north. And I was like, I'm just going to get in a car. Tonight, dosers, if you're here in Chicago, we are meeting up with some Chicago dosers tonight. We are going to the Chicago Athletic Club, Chicago Athletic Association, Chicago Athletic Club. the game room at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. I mean, not Pacific time, Chicago time, wherever we are. And we're going to hang out. We're going to have some drinks, some food. So join the dosers. There may be 2 of us. There may be 10 of us. There may be 7,000 of us. You never know with dosers if we can find ourselves there. I mean, I thank God for Ubers and Waze because I don't know where I am. We're in Central Time. So I'm really excited. It'll be fun to get there. And until we get there, we have so much to gossip about. And the problem is I forgot my what's it called? My tripod? Not my tripod, my mic stand. So I'm a stand-up comedian today. I'm holding my mic wherever I go. I can walk you guys. We can walk. I can take you to the bathroom. We can do a mobile pod today. Okay. You want me to go live tonight? Maybe I will go live. We'll see, depending on how loud it is. Okay. Bling is the new black. Gave me a super chat to say, so happy not to see these leaves. So she has a major issue with my wallpaper in my home studio. So I'm giving you a reprieve. You don't have to get a migraine today. All right. Don't worry. There's a podcast convention. Can't you ask somebody for one? Yeah, I know somebody here has a mic stand, I'm sure. Let's get into the show and let's talk about what has happened over the weekend. Well, I need to take your temperature on Blake Lively right now, you guys. I need to take your temperature because I am finding myself giving 0 shits about Blake Lively. Does anyone else care? Does anyone care about Blake Lively right now? Now, I think she's worried that no one cares about her, which is why she showed up at a donut stand. I don't care about her good PR, but Elsie, our girl Elsie, who I heard is also live with Ashley Brianna Eve, she has said she found something great. So what I'm going to do here, and this is so hard doing it one-handed, of course, but that's what she said again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find you guys the reel that Elsie posted, and we're going to watch it together about Blake Lively finding, I mean, I don't understand where in the world Elsie finds this amazingness. She finds this incredible, these incredible clips of Blake Lively doing all these things. So she was watching the Simple Favor, the original Simple Favor commentary, and Blake Lively talks about grabbing Henry Golding's nuts. Okay, nuts. So let's just watch this really fast. We're not going to spend all day on Blake Lively because I can feel like you guys are with me too, right? You're not into it that much. So we're just going to do a little chick chock, okay? A little doot doot, and then we're going to move on to other stuff. But I got to do it, okay? So let's watch this little clip, and then we'll talk about other stuff. I think Elsie's so amazing the way. Oh, I just got a new computer, so it's asking me all these things. Google Chrome would like to record this computer screen and audio. Okay. I guess record all my life. Allow. Oh no. Will it not let me do it? Okay, hopefully it will. Okay, here we go.
Lively confessing to grabbing her co-star's nuts because she felt like that's just what her character would do.
Wait, so am I blaming my husband for am I saying he killed her?
Right. One of my favorite additions that you came up with. I think is nuts. And you really went for it.
That's always awkward. You're like, hey, hi, nice to meet you. Can I grab your nuts? Like, really hard?
But really hard? Exactly.
Not because I want to, because I feel like she would.
Remember we kept going like, can you do it harder?
Yeah, and that was my tip of the hat to Baby Hudson.
Yes.
And she's spinning on the beach at the end.
Oh, it's so great. Then we do ADR'd a little extra, like, the little laughs and stuff. It's fantastic.
Is that Aviation American gin again?
Wow.
Shameless.
Oh, my God. I want dividends.
Blake, sweetie, where was the intimacy coordinator? Was there one? Doubtful.
This girl is insane. Okay, not Elsie. Blake Lively is the last person in the entire world who should ever have started this lawsuit. Because in order to start a lawsuit like this, she should have gone through, or she should have had her lawyers go through and sit down with her and say, okay, before we open this can of worms, we got to go through and make sure every single piece of your history, like every little thing that you've ever done, is completely clean. Because there may be a chance, girl, there may be a chance that they're going to open up everything in your past, right? There may be a chance that they're going to say, let's go through every single commentary in your past. Let's go through every single journal entry. Let's go through every commercial, every interview. Let's go through everything. Let's go through everything you've ever done. And let's make sure that you're clean, because if you say that you were sexually harassed by someone on a movie set, let's make sure there is nothing let's make sure that you are strawberry shortcake, right? Let's make sure you're perfect. Because if you're not perfect, I don't know if it's worth it. Unfortunately, she had the wrong people helping her. And so she literally did not get the right advice. So between her husband being dad of the year, Nat, asking, the daughter to say that horrible line last week, and then this stuff coming out, Blake is like, shit, I got to do crisis management ASAP. And so someone in her team, at this point, I believe probably Nick Shapiro, crisis PR, CIA guy, got fired, because I don't think they've had worse PR since he's gotten hired, right? Do you think that anything good has happened since CIA guy has jumped on board? Like nothing good has happened. Nothing good has happened. So meanwhile, of course, she goes and serves donuts all over. There's, everyone is talking about it. TMZ, of course, I'll just pull up TMZ's article where they're so smart. Blake Lively says, I do not care about the drama right now. Look how happy she looks. You guys, when I first saw the video, these stupid ads. It's Ollie. Oh my gosh, look how funny that is. You guys, Ollie, they sponsor my podcast. Use code Daily Dose, Ollie. That picture of Blake, the way she looks in this video when she's serving these donuts, Blake looks like Isabella Ferrer. The girl who played young Blake? It's crazy how much she looks like her in these videos. When I first saw the video, I thought to myself, it's wild how much they look alike. So that's Robin in the background. Robin is her sister, who's also in the movie. It says Blake Lively took a break from her legal woes to sprinkle in some fun, literally, by hopping behind a Connecticut donut counter to surprise customers. Obviously, everyone's talked about her hair being in the way. That's all I can think about in this video. I worked out the other day, okay, at F45, and I'm just going to say something really fast. I have hair that sheds if I'm playing with it, if I'm brushing it, if I'm putting it up, putting it down. I guarantee you right now, by the end of this podcast, I will have a long hair at some point, on my lap, because I futz with my hair. I get a lot of shit for it here on YouTube. Her hair was in that donut, because when I work out at F45 and I get down on the black mats, to do push-ups or whatever, there's always long blonde hairs, and they're not mine. They're long. They're Blake Lively's hairs. They end up at my F45. I guarantee you Blake Lively's hair is in that donut. There's no crazy. I saw someone blonde shed like crazy. There's no way that her hair was not in that donut. Someone ordered a glazed haired donut that day by mistake. The actress hit up her pal's donut shop, Rise Donut, in Wilton, Connecticut over the weekend and documented it all over her IG stories, posting a pic of a giant kitchen mixer and declaring it her happy place. Okay. It's obvious that she's just trying to kind of be like, everything's fine here, you guys, nothing to see. But when this is the most, press that she can get is just she happens to be hanging out in the background of a donut shop, things are bad for Blake. There's nothing going on there. She's got nothing. Who owns Rise Donuts? Did we find that out? That's what I need to know. I need to know who owns Rise Donuts, and then we can move on. Rise Donuts is going to be part of the scandal now. Whoever the owner of Rise Donuts is probably going to be dragged in, is going to be subpoenaed. It's going to be a problem. By the way, I would go for a donut. Now, is there a good donut shop in Chicago? I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Okay, let's move on to more interesting stories. And what I said on my Patreon earlier, by the way, I released my Patreon this morning. It's good. What I said on my Patreon earlier is that I will not obsess over Blake Lively content unless there's something to obsess over. You know what I mean? I won't continue to like dive deep unless there's something good. I'll cover it like this, but I'm not going to attack it unless it's interesting, unless it's important. And that's it. I can't. I'm like, I've had it up to here with it. I'm oversaturated with it. You know what I mean? Unless there's like a legal update, unless there's something else. Okay. We gotta move on to more interesting things. I think there's more interesting things out there for sure. Oh, before I forget, this week I want you guys to remember that Stay, the company, the Stay bodysuits that I'm wearing. I'm actually wearing one right now. I'm wearing the tank top version. Is sponsoring my podcast also. And you can get 10% off Stay Body by using the code Daily Dose. Stay Body, I am actually, it's like all I packed. I can go grab them, but I don't want to mess up the podcast too much. STABODY is the company. And I wore one yesterday on the flight. They're the best because when you wear a bodysuit, it holds you in, but it's not too tight. It's so comfy. It's so cozy. I have the long sleeve. I have the tank top. But the most important thing is when you go to the bathroom as women, you can just pull it down. It's got like a back that goes down like underwear. And so you don't have to worry about unbuckling the bottom and taking off your whole shirt. So Stay Body, STABODY. The links are below. Thank you so much. And make sure to support a doser, Stephanie from Stay Body, who reached out to me and she's like, I think you would love my product. And I'm obsessed with the product. Nancy says, my first time posting. I have been watching for a long time and I love you, Donna. Fellow proud Jewish lady here. Blake needs to lose this. She's a terrible person. Thank you, Nancy. And thank you for supporting. Yes, proud Jew. I appreciate it. I really, truly agree with you. I don't know a world where Blake wins this. I don't know a world. I also don't know if there's a world where Justin wins it either, though. And that's what makes me a little bit concerned about this case, just because of being so involved in the Karen Reed, now being a lawyer for Karen Reed, because that's how it works. And we'll talk about Karen Reed in just a second. Actually, let's just like do a little quick Karen Reed talk. Karen Reed's trial starts tomorrow, officially on April 1st. They start jury selection tomorrow. I have immersed myself into Karen Reed. I am on the jury. I'm not, but I am, I've been listening to the 13th Juror podcast and I find it fascinating, just all the inconsistencies and all the problems. And in fact, I reached out to the host of the 13th Juror and I hope she responds to me because I would love to get her on my show. I think it's really, really, really interesting and it's really fascinating how our justice system and the trials and the juries and the judges and the corruption when it comes to these cases. The problem is that, I mean, when I look at this, and remember, I jumped in at the 11th hour. I watched the documentary first. That was my first entrance in. And then I found out that the documentary missed so many of the details for Karen Reed. So then I started listening to the 13th hour. And I kind of had, if I'm going to be 100% honest, I kind of felt like the 13th hour podcast was hard to follow at first, because when you listen to the 13th hour podcast, it's just all these facts. So then what I did was I started watching a little bit of Emily D. Baker's quick bits. And then what I did was I started just watching on YouTube. I started watching parts of the first trial, like moments of Higgins on the stand or moments of Colin, the son, on the stand. I found that really interesting to actually watch everyone on the stand. That to me was very, very telling Now I feel like I've really now I know the story. Now I see the inconsistencies. Now I know like the Apple Watch data. Like I see everything and I watch this incredible. If you guys are interested right now, I'm going to show you. I have to show you guys this. These incredible like animations of what the defense and what the Commonwealth see as everything. And I find it fascinating. But to me, in my mind, I see it as so obvious that Karen Reed was framed. And why is this important? Because so many people see it as so obvious that she's guilty. And even when you see it like so clearly in front of you, just like with Blake and Justin, so clearly, it makes you say to yourself, like, wait, is there a world where Justin loses this trial? Is there a world where Blake Lively wins and Ryan Reynolds win or not? I mean, I guess not win, but like don't have to pay the money. Justin doesn't like get away or he doesn't, walk away from this as innocent for sexual harassment for Blake Lively because things can go left. It's really crazy. And like Khadijah says here, Karen Reed, Johnny Depp, Justin Baldoni are totally different cases, particularly with evidence. Nothing is 100% guaranteed, but Justin has the strongest evidence and we've seen all of it. As far as we know, we're not on trial yet. We haven't seen all of the evidence, but as far as we know, we've seen everything. I mean, at the end of the day, in court is when you finally are able to see everything. But it's really, truly a little bit concerning to see how many times things don't go your way in trial, right? It makes me nervous. It makes me nervous and I worry about it, but I am very invested in Karen Reed and I'm not going to be covering it like all day. I won't be live during the trial like some of these other lawyers that do that, but I will be touching on it daily. Or at least maybe I'll be doing a specific thing on Patreon. I'm still trying to figure out how much I can really put towards it, but I am incredibly invested in that trial. Incredibly. Something else that I am invested in. House and Habit. Let's talk about this. So House and Habit and Candace Owens and that drama unfolded in the most outrageous way over the weekend in a way that really went from like, oh, this is fun gossip, back and forth, mommy sleuths, going back and forth, to a place of scandal, darkness, bad corruption that I felt like I don't know if I even want to, I don't want to touch. Does that make sense? And let me explain why. I feel like I am, here's the stay body code. Thank you so much, Wanda. I'm really sorry that I didn't say that really clearly earlier. I'm out of sorts here. I don't have all my notes in front of me. I'm out of sorts. Okay. House and Habit. So I've been talking to a bunch of friends all weekend about this, and I've been going back and forth. There's so many things that she did wrong here. Okay. House and Habit, if you guys missed last week's episode, I covered it both Thursday and Friday. Her first, I don't even want to say it was a mistake because as independent journalists, which she is, you're allowed to have an opinion. We are all allowed to have an opinion and say what we want to say, right? So her opinion was that Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly, she mentioned Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, I think, and Ian Carroll. I don't know if she mentioned others, but those are the ones I remember. She mentioned for pivoting their content towards female type, specifically Candace and Megyn. She said they're pivoting their content. That was allowed to say. You're allowed to say whatever the hell you want. Candace responded, also allowed, right? Like green flag, totally allowed. Nothing wrong. this is where Jessica made her first mistake. Her first mistake was going to the idea of like, I'm better than you, Candace, right? So this was a mistake. We talked about this on Friday. Sorry, can't talk right now. Busy at the White House. Mistake. Shouldn't have done it. She shouldn't have said, sorry, can't have that conversation. I'm at a place that you're not allowed to. Because then she said, you're banned from the White House because of, I heard you're banned because you're anti-Semitic. Them posting pictures of her at her wedding with her Make Weddings Great Again hat. So then going after Candace, putting Candace down, and then messaging Candace in her DMs and then blocking Candace. She fought really dirty with Candace, and it wasn't a right move because once you do that, then you're going after someone's personal ego. You're doing it publicly. Candace was sharing it all publicly. And then Candace is like, oh, now it's personal. Don't fuck with me. I'm coming after you. Bad mistake, right? Next. Candace came back at her on Thursday, I want to say, Thursday's show. Candace has then brought up those other girls that used to work for House and Habit, Denise and Emily, who had left. And this is where it started to get really dirty because this is where Jessica's House and Habit started to unravel. Okay. Jessica started to unravel because instead of just like dropping it or taking the high road, she started to fight even dirtier by bringing up Emily and Denise's, especially Denise, her friendship of 14 years, personal stories, and start bringing up her personal stuff and start bringing up all this like really, really like private things, about her ex and her alcoholism and she needs an intervention and her daughters, all this crazy stuff that really wasn't necessary to bring up. She started doing all of that, especially in these like private Substack comments. But the problem is everyone's screenshotting, everyone's sharing it to the world. Okay. Emily, another one of her writers, is also sharing everything like crazy on her stories too, which was also kind of weird. And I'm just giving you my personal opinion. Emily, her writer, this young writer, was like saying too much, sharing too much. Like, whoa. Emily, her writer, went from being like, oh, this is interesting to being like, oh, you're doing way too much, in my opinion. This is just my thought. Okay. But House and Habit, Jessica, on Thursday night, like jumped the shark by exposing way too much. And then on Friday morning, Jessica from House and Habit pretended like nothing happened. She's like, anywho, really cool news. I have all this access to the White House. Everything's going to be fine. But Candace did not drop it, right? Candace then went on her show, dove in double deep, triple deep, even quadruple deep. And what went from like, oh, I'm going to talk shit about House and Habit and say, which she did, she's a vile, I got like uncomfortable. I almost died watching Candace attack Jessica on her stories and then on her YouTube, which was after my show on Friday. She's vile. She's disgusting. She's not a journalist. Don't trust her. Da, 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 and went on and on and on and on and on. And it was horrible, like just to watch, because I know that Jessica acted really badly, but to see Candace with such a huge audience go off on this woman. I don't know about you guys. Jessica acted badly, but like that was really uncomfortable for me to watch. This is just my personal opinion. Remember, I'm allowed to have it just like you guys are allowed to have yours. Then she went and created a story that is so out of control about, I don't even want to talk about it because I don't even want to enhance. I'm sorry, I had like an internet snafu, but I hope you guys can see me okay. I can't control the internet, but Candace Owens is probably trying to take me down right now. She then went into this wild theory about RFK and this blackmail story and where it's coming from. And at that point, I really couldn't follow along. I was like, you've got to be joking me. Again, we're going here. Again. When she started her fight with Jessica Reed Krause, I just remember I thought, I am going to say, like, I was like, thank God she's finally not going to blame Israel for something. And all of a sudden, I'm like, here we are. We found a way back. We found a way back. Now, of course, we already got our Candace apologists that are already going to attack me. Go do your thing. It's all good. It's all good. But I'm allowed to have my opinion too. That's when I was like, I can't. I think Candace is an incredible speaker. I think she's so dynamic in her ability to communicate. I think she can sell anything to anyone. I think she is beautiful. I think she has an incredible production quality on her YouTube. I think she is so popular. I think she is smart. I think she's all of that. But she is obsessed with Israel. She's obsessed. So like at that point, I was like, okay, now you lost me on this one. So I will say I was waiting for House InHabit to respond. I was excited for House InHabit to respond, but I'm not a Substack member. Luckily, my friends are. So last night when I landed here in Chicago, I did get a House InHabit update from my inner circle. And I did get all the DMs, all the screenshots of what she said. And maybe some of you guys have heard what House InHabit said. But the general idea of what House InHabit said was, and she did say some important things that I thought were good. But what she didn't do was the most important thing. Let me go through a couple important points that she said in this long Substack. She's a good writer. One thing Jessica Reed Krause is a good writer. But she missed out on one very, very important thing. But let me read a couple things, important things that she said to you guys. Okay. Hello and happy Sunday. As I've learned over time, humility is one of life's greatest teachers. Moments of contrast, of discomfort, are often what push us to evolve into better versions of ourselves. No one wants their lowest moments on public display, but that's exactly where I found myself. Compiled pressures and ragged defense triggered the worst versions of me, and overwhelmed by a perfect storm of stressors. Any new details I know will only fuel a narrative I can't control. The prevailing pot from the loudest voice wins. I spent hours yesterday drafting an emotional response, trying to fill in the missing details and provide context for the events of this week. It was a chaotic mess of viral rage, heartbreak, and layers of betrayal. But after waking up today and reflecting, I realized the story has already been hijacked. It's been spun into something so convoluted it borders on comical. The story now entails bizarre accusations involving Israel. I just saw a video of Rabbi Shmuley inviting Candace Owens to another debate, WWF style. I don't know how it got here, but apparently I am being blamed for attempting to take down RFK, even though all I've ever done is support him. I wish I could see how this makes sense when, ironically, the people making these claims are the ones actively working against him to shape a narrative based on rumors they have not something. Meanwhile, Americans aren't invested in rumors about his personal life. They want him to fix the food and the water, to heal the children. He just cleaned out the toxins in baby formula. No one cares what he does on his own time with other consenting adults when we have a country to save. Trump is also accused of being compromised by blackmail. Hard to believe considering he's one of the least controllable people in politics. The ones reporting that Bobby is being blackmailed also admit that they have not actually seen the blackmail, nor do they know the blackmailers who allegedly have. It appears sources, this is about, she's obviously talking about Ian Carroll, who's also one of these people that is like really doing these crazy like conspiracy videos. And he's just like, I don't know. A lot of you guys may like Ian Carroll, but he's coming off to me as like a little bit of like a, I don't know. I can't get behind him at all. It appears sources feeding them this disinformation are trying to create fear and uncertainty around him to undermine a key figure in Trump's administration. He's making big moves and drastic changes. Enemies affected are surely trying to capsize him in any way they can. I don't know how I fit in. Any videos I have of Bobby are him on the campaign trail and with family. Then she goes on to talk about her newsletter, and she says that she's talking about her newsletter just turned 3. She's made many mistakes. She grew really, really fast. She went from being a really liked person to being really hated really fast because she was like a mommy blogger who was covering Johnny Depp, etc. And then all of a sudden she went straight into like covering MAGA, which you can imagine the hate that she gets from doing that because she went from being like a super liberal to a super right-wing journalist, essentially. She said, overnight, I had one of the most read newsletters on the platform. Then she says, I realize there's a growing push to cancel me. I don't blame anyone who unsubscribes from my newsletter, but I will not stop writing. I don't care if it reaches an audience of 500,000 or 50. We watched our president get up after a bullet. Politics is a blood sport. If you believe in what you're doing, you always get back up. The stories I share here feed my purpose. Purpose paves new paths. Say that 10 times. The media landscape is shifting. We knew it was going to be a turbulent toss. She continues to talk a lot about, the war inside feels more liberal than metaphorical at the moment. She's going to continue to move through it. She said the month swept in like a tornado. She woke up to sharks. There's random resentments. She doesn't know who to trust. She says, my piece was not a hit job on anyone. I didn't attack Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, or Ian Carroll. I simply shared my perspective like any cultural commentator has the right to do. Days after my White House access was announced, combined attacks began to take shape. As for the conspiracy theories, let me clear some up. And this is important because then she started to get all these theories about her and people started to talk about whether or not she voted or is she a registered Democrat, etc. She goes, yes, I'm still a registered Democrat. I voted left my entire life until 2020 when I quietly voted for Trump. I've written about this. It's not a secret. So this is interesting because I don't follow her really regularly. I guess she has been very open about this, that she's a registered Democrat, which, by the way, I don't find this weird at all. Does anyone else think that's weird at all? I don't find that who you're registered for to be weird at all, especially given how fast our parties have shifted in the last few years. What I deem the Democratic and the Republican Party, like everything has shifted so fast. I don't find that weird at all in any way, especially like so many people I know have shifted parties in the last 8 years, but like haven't changed their registration. I don't find that weird at all. Then she said, I don't feel pressed or obligated to change my party affiliation. Okay, whatever. Then she says, this time around, I chose not to vote at all. I want to remain untethered to any party if I'm going to track politics as a career. That's a personal decision, not a secret exposed. Some people think that's like crazy, crazy bad. I stand by thinking it's not that bad at all. I went back and forth with my friends about this. I know that like I'll just call it out. Like I was talking to Zach about that. Zach was saying this morning, I don't know if he talked about it on his show this morning, but Zach was saying this morning that he thinks it's a really big deal because she was like very clearly talking about politics during the last couple of years on her stories and stuff. And she was clearly like pushing people to vote for RFK and for Trump. But I said, and then my friend Molly too was saying that it was a big deal. But I said to myself, I don't remember her ever saying, and like I said, I was not following her crazy close, but I don't remember House InHabit ever saying, like, you have to vote. I don't remember that at all. I just remembered her saying, vote. I mean, I just remember her covering the campaign. So, like, there's some people out there that are like political activists that say, like, must vote, must vote, must vote. I don't remember her saying that at all. I don't remember her saying that at all. So, okay. So then, okay. She continues. Some of you guys found it weird that she didn't vote. She says, no, I'm not part of a CIA operation. I'm not blackmailing anyone in politics. She says the mysterious license plate that Candace went off on. You guys remember on Candace's video, this was something else that I thought was kind of odd. Candace went off on this van and she said, like, this is Olivia's license plate. This is Olivia Nuzzi's license plate. Well, it was never Olivia's license plate. It was always Jessica's. And like, if you've been following Jessica's, that's her husband's car. He drives it. So that was like kind of strange research. A lot of people are like, Candace is always right. Candace is always right. Pete, please keep in mind, like, she's not also. You always have to remember that. That's important too. So she's like, no, I have that car and I've written about it that I randomly have a car with the RFK, etc. So, okay. Then she says, I'm not plotting to destroy anyone in the media. A conspiracy that went from confusing to comical spun by Ian, Candace, and a former employee, all rooted in unfounded hearsay. I didn't draft a hit piece. My former employee did. That was about Emily, etc. Then she talks about her relationship with Olivia. She says, Olivia and I were friends before the scandal with RFK. We are friends now after it. The how and why of that is hard to get into, which is kind of weird that she's not telling us. And then she goes on, she goes, I don't care if anyone is liberal leaning, and the only views I've ever heard her express are related to her general skepticism of power. People forget that Olivia wrote the story that prompted Biden to have to swiftly step down. She's a registered independent, but even if she wasn't, party ties should not determine friendships. I agree. And I'm still not sure why forgiveness is such a crime. And it goes on and on and on. She says, my personal life is mine to navigate. Even when humiliated, I don't owe anyone an explanation about the company I keep. My circle is diverse: politicians, artists, writers, federal inmates, PTA moms, some of the richest people in the country, some of the poorest, local surfers, controversial figures. I know many would like to see my access revoked. The pitchforks are out, and I'm being mocked for wearing designer loafers and attending red carpets events tied to campaigns I covered for a year. She talks to a camera in a studio. I embed myself in real scenes, observing people, lens outward facing. We have different styles. This feels like the angle now is verging on petty bullying between women. Maybe that's fair. I don't know. But I can't help think of all the men in the media who get away with worse. Women love women watching women at war with each other. Bam. And then I was like, geez, this is kind of crazy, right? This is kind of crazy. Because I felt like when I read that, I thought to myself, like, we're all part of the problem. We're all part of the problem here. Not to say that Jessica is like this perfect person, or Candace is this perfect person, or anyone is this perfect person. But like, there's something kind of scary about how fast everyone just like freaked the fuck out and like turned and like lost their minds. And Abby's saying I would be just as interested if they were men. And maybe we would. We probably would. But would they go that hard on each other is the question. Right? Would they go on that hard? And then another thing that I think is really interesting is, I guess another thing that I think is really interesting is that I'm trying to think like how I want to kind of, take this. And I think the biggest mistake Jessica did in this entire, because I think it's a really interesting piece. And I think she'll make it through this actually, because I don't think the White House actually cares. From what I've heard, what she says, and then the person that I have that's a source that knows someone very in at the White House says, I don't know anything or anyone here at the White House that cares about this. So I actually think she's going to be just fine. But the only thing that I wonder is how many women, her fans, her supporters, are going to care in the long run about how she treated her friend Denise and how she didn't apologize to her friend Denise in that Substack publicly. Because that, to me, the way she threw her friend under the bus and the way she attacked her friend was so wrong. And for Jessica's side of the street, that's the one thing she should have done. She should have apologized about Denise for me to fully be able to maybe look at her in a cleaner way. For her not to even say, I'm sorry about that is really, really weird. Secondly, on Candace's side, a lot of you guys are saying the one thing that Candace did was get really upset about the clean shot comment. Well, look, the clean shot comment does sound like really insane. It sounds like, you know, the word like assassination, clean shot, because apparently, you know, Olivia and Nuzzi said something like, we need a clean shot. If you're going to do a hit piece on Candace, you need a clean shot. I don't know. I'm not a journalist. I don't know if that's journalism speak. Anyone here? Is anyone here a journalist? I don't know. You tell me. Karen says House InHabit attacking women has become a habit in her social media. Is that just House InHabit? What about Candace? Does Candace do the same? I don't know. I just was on my YouTube today in algorithm and it served me Piers Morgan and Candace Owens talking about how Andrew Tate is a good man or like deserves due process. And I'm like, you know, I don't know. It's kind of, all of it is really, it's like, what are we even talking about here? Right? But all I know is that last night before I went to bed, Emily, who used to work for House InHabit, was on a live with another girl, Jaggy-ish, I think her name is, who just left House InHabit, who was working for House InHabit. Just they were both on a live for 2 hours or an hour with 2,000 people on their live, just talking crap for an hour and a half of about this. And I was like, now I just feel yucky. Like, I think it's just got to be done, right? I think we just got to move on. Like, I just want them to kind of like, I just think Jessica should never have like poked the bear with Candace. And then it never would have gotten this ugly. Right? Oh my gosh. Do I have Andrew Tate apologists in my comments? Oy vey. Oy vey. Let's go back to Bravo. Suki goes, I miss Bravo talk. That's where we're going. We're going to Bravo. I'm done with this too. Let's talk about Bravo. I've got good Bravo talk, but it does include Jax Taylor. Okay. Let's go back into Bravo and Jax Taylor. We are going to talk about, I really have to say that Jax Taylor, unfortunately, we're going to talk about another disgusting human being. Jax Taylor, I woke up and I chose violence because Jax Taylor showed up on my feed. Us Weekly, decided to post the most horrendous. You guys, you want to see the most narcissistic, most disgusting person you've ever seen in your entire life? His name is Jax Taylor. I can't believe this man exists. You have to see it. You'll die. You'll die. Listen to this man contradict himself in 2 seconds.
I will never, ever talk negatively about Brittany. I come from a place where you just don't talk about your significant other publicly. Am I angry with some of the things that she's done? Absolutely. Is there a lot of things out there that you guys don't know? Yes, there's a lot. takes two to argue. Okay, it takes two to fight, and I know a lot of my stuff is out there, and I know she's said a lot of things publicly about me. Is it deserved? Probably, yeah. The things that she said to me that you guys have heard is hurtful. Is hurtful. You know, if it was so bad all these years, why did you stay all these years? If it was so bad, why did you ask me to have another kid last year? If it was so bad 3 months prior, why did you ask me to have sex with you? Like, if it was so, you know what I'm saying? This is the problem I have a hard time with. These three things. Okay, so I know I angered you a lot, but you know, I'm not blaming, but I'm like, why didn't you say, hey, why don't we go to therapy? Why don't we fix this? Or why don't we go away and like, let's figure out these problems? And I'm not putting it on her at all, but we're in a marriage is a team thing. You're partners. And I felt like I lost my partner a little bit.
Guys, Jax Taylor. He's like, I'm just never going to talk bad about Brittany again. But like, why? It's all her fault. Like, everything that went wrong is her fault. But like, I don't want to, she's a good person, but like, it's kind of she kind of messed up. Like, she's good. She's great. But like, why didn't she fix our marriage? But a good person, great mom. But like, also, why didn't, I've never seen anything like it. He literally can't go one sentence without not talking bad about her. I'm not going to say anything bad, but she really is the problem. But it's not bad about her. I'm just saying, like, she actually, nothing was my fault. Nothing triggers me more than Jax. Like, he is, I truly think he is like the worst version of a man out. No, there's worse. There's Kanye. Right? There's worse. Oh my God. Is Jax Taylor the worst man on earth? I can't wait for the Valley. Like, we need eggs. The price of eggs need to go down by the time the Valley comes out. If not, we're going straight to tomatoes. You need something that you can throw easily and that will smash on your TV. Because you need to get it and you need to toss it and break right on Jax's face. We need bullseye for Jax's face. He is beyond annoying. Other Bravo news. Erin from Real Housewives of New York had her baby. Actually, what a cutie. What a cutie. Did you guys see this little baby? Now, I will say, I'm not a huge Roni fan as is, but I think my little spidey sense says little, what's her name, is going to be on the show. Lindsay's going to be on the show. Don't you think? Lindsay Hubhouse. Oh my God, I need an ad blocker. How cute. How cute. I think it's the cutest little baby. So she's got 1 girl and 3 boys. That's another Bravo news. A third Bravo news is that Gia Giudice, never know, downplays her mom, Teresa, and stepdad, Louis, owing $3 million in taxes. So she has a podcast, which is crazy. Okay. The fact that Gia has a podcast too. Who doesn't? Like, the only person that doesn't have a podcast is, I don't know, some random driver on Real Housewives of New York. But Gia has a podcast. It's called Casual Chaos. She says that she had a chaotic week while juggling work and the couple's legal troubles. She said, we have had a lot of positive moments this week and some negative moments. I'm sure you have all seen the news. She said, let's start from the beginning. My mom has been the sole provider for my sisters and I since the minute my father left for prison. The second my mom got home from jail, she's been working her ass off to make sure that my sisters and I live a stable life and that my family is financially stable. My mom has everything under control. There is nothing to worry about. She can't stress enough how hard her mom has worked and promised that everything will be resolved. She says that Louis treats her sisters and I like we are his own. He is also working on getting everything resolved as well. There's nothing to worry about. Everything is going to be fine, but thank you for your concern. Do we believe that, you guys? I don't think you can kind of like fake tax papers. I think 1000% it's real. they owe that money. If you pull money from the IRS like website or whatever, it's real. Fake news, Teresa says. Fake news. Bull. It's real. More. And last, this is interesting, you guys. Carl needs your money. Carl Radke needs your money. Are you willing to give your money to Carl Radke? Our final story is Carl's soft bar. Yes, he needs you to be soft but hard, but soft but hard, but soft but hard. His soft bar cafe needs your hard cash. Are you willing to pay money to Carl? Here is Carl's plea for your money. Who's giving it? I'm waiting in the comments for one of you guys to give it. Okay, let me pull it up, and I want to make sure that I'm gonna call Carl personally to make sure that you guys. I'm gonna say Daily Dose of Donna, blank from Daily Dose of Donna is gonna sponsor, and you'll get a picture with him. Here we go.
Guys, welcome to Soft Bar. Here we are in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, the best neighborhood, I believe, in New York City. We have an amazing opportunity here at Soft Bar, and the only way we can really bring this to life is we need a little bit of your help. And what we're asking you guys is to get involved. We are doing a crowdfunding campaign, so you can own a piece of Soft Bar. You can head on to republic.com/softbar. You can invest as little as $250. I hope you get involved. Come on over to Greenpoint, Brooklyn, to the original and first Soft Bar. Thanks, guys.
The problem with this, you guys, the problem is he's getting slammed in the comments, you guys, slammed. The first comment says Tom Sandoval's mom would be interested in investing. Oh my God. If you remember Vanderpump Rules and Schwartz and Sandy's, you'll know that joke. Tom Sandoval's mom would be interested in investing. The second says, Carl, you've been on TV for 10 seasons and you're asking us for money? That's crazy. The third says, just what I've been waiting for, to grab a non-alcoholic drink in a warehouse with no windows in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Then someone says, invest in a garage that serves fruit juice. Someone says, Lindsay dodged a bullet. Someone says, Carl, we're broke. Someone says, should have listened to Hubs. Lindsay tried to tell you this was a good idea. This wasn't a good idea. Oh, this bar ain't lasting. Carl, we need eggs, not a soft bar. Someone said crowdfunding when you do fit checks with Burberry and Gucci. Oh my God. I feel bad, but I don't. I feel bad. Oh God, ban this one. You're out of here. Oh my God. Yeah, can we do a GoFundMe? You guys, I would like to do a GoFundMe for my lunch. Oh my God. I can't. Carl. Come on, Carl. Alcohol's, you're not even serving alcohol. How expensive can it be? That's not a good sign. He should take that TikTok down fast. Okay. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining me in Chicago. The sun's coming out because of you. Well, I'm going to head on out of here and walk around town. I'll see you guys tonight. If you're going to be around tonight in Chicago, follow me on Instagram. I'm going to get my pass. I'm going to go over and get checked into the event for Podcast Movement. And I will see you guys around. Someone said, is that what the sun looks like in Chicago? I'm not going to go south. Trust me, I'm not looking for trouble. This is look, there's sun. It's so pretty. Come on. You don't even need me in the show. It's your daily dose of the south side of Chicago. Wait, there's an Uncommon James store here. Oh my God. I should go shopping in Chicago. All right. Bye, you guys. Love you. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.